Hello, hello, and welcome to the All In podcast with Nate Pao. Of course, I am your host, Nate Pao. Today's guest is John Skulamowski. John is a lead project manager for Armia Systems, a web design and development house. John has been a project manager of hundreds of web platforms and has tons of experience working with entrepreneurs. So I was really excited to have John come on the show and talk about this space that he's in, because I think a lot of people, especially startups, you have ideas, you don't know how to accomplish it. And for me, I wasn't too familiar with how you do this stuff until somebody introduced me to this idea of what people do in their app developers and help startups get their idea off the ground, and kind of take a little bit of some of the hard work and effort off their table by outsourcing and bringing experts into the field to do it. So welcome to the show, John. How are you?
I'm really well. How are you, Nate?
Doing fantastic.
How's the
So
family?
it's going great. Thanks for asking. We just welcomed a new daughter into our family 2 weeks ago today. So
Oh, that's great, man.
we're kind of getting adjusted to the new calendar, new schedule, all that good stuff.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah. So I'm curious a little bit about what you're up to and what you're doing. Maybe you could tell a little bit about your story, but I want to kind of back into my experience with not knowing where to start when you have an idea, and because you don't know, maybe making some bad decisions or poor choices. So probably 2011, me and my wife had this idea of creating a wine app that helped you figure
Mm,
out which wines you should buy. So we were at the store, and there was an app that you could get downloaded on iPhone. This is like when not everybody had an iPhone. They're just kind of like, I think it was the iPhone 2 is the one I had, or maybe it was 3. And it was Red Laser. And Red Laser let you scan stuff at Target, and you could find out, like, if you're buying a bottle of water that's cheaper at Amazon or Walmart or whatever, you could go buy it at the cheaper price. We said, hey, wouldn't this be cool if you had something that scanned a wine label, and the some like ratings went up, or it told you if you'd like it or not. And like, so if you're overwhelmed at a wine store, you could find out about the wine and see if you liked it, what you wanted to
mm,
buy. So we went down this path of trying to figure out, like, how would you build an app to do that. And we got connected with some people that did web design, and none of us, I guess, knew what we were doing, because obviously we couldn't figure out how to build an app and how to do all the stuff we wanted it to do. So we kind of like pivoted into creating an online wine store, which we ended up doing for a few years, and it never had major success, and then ended up kind of not being worth the time and effort to do it continuous. We ended up shutting that down a few years ago. But after I started getting plugged into the tech space, I started realizing there's people like yourselves that work in these companies that help you develop apps. You come to them with an idea and say, hey, I want to do this stuff. And they've got a lot of this expertise to kind of gather that information that's out there existing already and create what's not there and build a minimal viable product essentially for you, and then you go to market. So can you talk a little bit about the company you work for and what you do, and what, how accurate is my story representing what you guys do and the people that come to you?
Actually, it's funny. You'd be surprised how many of these stories are actually very, very similar. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of people listening right now who are like, yep, I did something very, almost exactly the same. I had similar results. It doesn't really matter what sort of market you're trying to capture. It's all about, I don't know who to go to. I tried to do this thing. It was a false start, or worst case scenario, it was like really expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was a very expensive lesson to learn. So it's a shame. It's really a shame, because some of these ideas could be really good if they were properly supported, but it's they just don't know where to go. So that's why it's basically our claim to fame. So I work for Armia Systems, ARMIA. They've been in business since 2003. I've only been here for the last 10 years or so. We have about a little more than 200 employees now. Always add a few, and here we are. So about half the company does server support, which is infrastructure side, managing the actual either bare metal or AWS, rack space, something like that. And the other side is actually the web design house. That's the house that I'm responsible for. So we do a lot of varying ideas. We work with a lot of entrepreneurs, first time, perhaps not first time, second time, a lot of enterprise projects as well for existing companies looking to make new products. We changed our model, which is kind of important, 6-7 years ago, from what was called a waterfall model, where the developer would take all the requirements, go away, black box, code everything, and then at the end, present it and hope that it was what they asked for, right? So straight through, single line. We changed that, and now we're more of an agile model where there's broken up the work into smaller sprints, they call them. So we'll do this amount of work, we'll check it, we'll present it, looks good, we'll go to the next agile bit, and build the bits depending on how big the project is. And more recently, over the last year or so, we've started actually doing what I refer to as project management or discovery as a separate service, non-inclusive of the rest of the project or development. So I like to say that it's all the work up until the keyboard work is needed, right? And up until coding starts. So we do, we plan out what kind of server it's going to need and the budget for that. We plan out the user stories, which is like a description of how the thing will actually be used. So guy A clicks on button and gets this, whatever page it's going to get to. We plan out a roadmap for long-term and short-term. We do a database schema, which is really cool. It ends up being like this giant image of all the little database sockets where all the little information goes. This part is actually a little over my head because I'm not a technical person. I'm more of a layman. And we also do an interactive prototype. So someone could actually see and feel how it's going to look by clicking through it with a software called Adobe XD. So they actually see the screens and can press the buttons to proceed through the wireframe. So it really helps them to figure out if this is the sort of thing that they want to provide value through.
Yeah. So you talked about a little bit about people have maybe made a mistake of paying a lot or paying too much for something.
Oof.
And I want to kind of like go into like I'm an entrepreneur. I've got an idea for an app and I want to do some stuff and I don't know anything about how to do it or even if it's possible to do it. So like I find you, somehow somebody recommends me to you. They say, hey, I want to come and I want to chat with you about what it is I want to do. And, my experience has been a lot of times I would meet with yourself or a company like yourself and I'd say, this is what I want to do. And how much is it going to cost, right? And you go, well, let me start asking you a bunch of questions. So can you kind of like walk us through this discovery? Because I think that's very interesting how the discovery process works.
Right.
And then talk about how the arrangement to build it works. So I think that's also kind of interesting because a lot of times, and I'm assuming this is how you do things, but of course you can clarify this, is there's a way to do it where maybe the idea generation doesn't put forth the entire investment to build it out, correct?
If you're saying like if the juice may not be worth the squeeze sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. That happens, and sometimes there are ideas. Take an extreme case like Amazon, right? Amazon didn't make money for years intentionally. So sometimes it's really hard to say whether or not that idea is even worth pursuing, even if it won't make money. But I would say there should be some at least plan to generate revenue as part of it, right? That's actually one of I think the biggest pitfalls for people with ideas is that they don't have any sort of marketing plan whatsoever. Because sometimes I'll ask people, well, okay, great idea. How are you going to get these people for this market? Do you have an in? Are you familiar with the market? Are there watering holes you can go to that you can, get some people on board? And they're like, no, we're going to do word of mouth. And I got to be like, listen, now word of mouth, I hope to God that your idea will spread like wildfire through word of mouth and it will be free. Unfortunately, you need some money for AdWords. You know what I mean? So it's just, I can't, it's hard. As a project manager, it's hard to draw the line between what my fiduciary responsibility is to the company sometimes and what my responsibility is to the client, because it's moral hazard, right? Just like a stockbroker. I can only go so far, but I have to still, do my best for that client so I can get repeat business in the future and get referrals. Because if I'm not, then I'll never see that guy again, and my business dies.
So obviously if I came in with an idea, we probably wouldn't start with implementing all of it. We would start creating, maybe breaking it down into parts and pieces and build something out that could start, like you said, this waterfall effort. Like what's the easiest I'm guessing what's the easiest path to something that brings in revenue? What is the main feature this needs to have, and then build on from that. So how do you kind of establish what that path is? And as I'm having this conversation with you, clearly you're not in it for doing this for charity work. So like, how do you determine like, hey, you're looking at an investment of XYZ to take it from A to B, or even just like, hey, let's just throw some crap at the wall and see what sticks and put an idea together and maybe flow something out. At what point do you go, okay, here's what we're going to do, here's your plan, this is what we're going to do, and take it and come up with a proposal to get you from step A to step B, and also give somebody an idea, like what if I came to you with an idea and said, hey, this is a pretty complex idea, it's like $3 million investment. You go, okay, well, obviously I don't want to throw $3 million at something I have no idea if it's viable, but like there's also some sort of price point that does make sense of exploring it, even if it's going to be a $3 million project at the end of the day. How do we ramp up to that?
Okay, so there's two things here I want to touch on. First is the actual dollar amount, because this is actually going to be pretty, I think, blow your hair back. I've never had a $3 million client, right? We don't take that sort of business. In fact, even if I got one, I wouldn't know what to do with it, right? That's like a Formula One car pulling up to the garage on the corner. Like the mechanic would look at it and be like, I don't know, what am I supposed to do with this? Technically it's a car, but it's a different animal, So. Yeah. Most of our projects, I would say, we do small MVPs, minimum around 5K, and that just kind of gets them started. I would say the median of the project is somewhere between 7,500 and 12,000 total. So that kind of gives you an idea about what a first development effort gets, and that actually buys a lot, because our hourly rate is $22 an hour, so it goes pretty far. But as far as organizing a project, we generally try to follow the MVP model. So a while back there was like a meme, and it went around, and it was pretty great. So it was the way not to do web development, and it was like it was tires and the chassis, and then it had added a steering wheel, and then it added windows, and then it added like a door, right? So you kind of follow the flow through like a car, something like a car. That's the wrong way to do it, right? The right way to do it is to build a skateboard, then throw the skateboard out. Then you want to build a bike, then throw the bike out. Then build a motorcycle, throw the motorcycle out, then build a car, right? And a lot of people get the wrong idea about what should be the first step. So the first step needs to be build that skateboard, no frills, just needs to be the absolute minimum that it needs to do. Then once you prove your business case and you are certain that the market likes it and it's economically viable, you can make some money, then go for the real deal, right? Add some bells and whistles, deliver even more value. But you don't keep building, you would not build a skyscraper on top of a foundation for a shack, right?
Yeah.
Same thing applies to software. You would never want to do that. That's a recipe for disaster. Throw that out. Even though if you like it, you're holding on to the idea, not the software. So do more, provide more value for your clients with a better platform overall. It's more scalable, can handle more people, et cetera, be more beautiful. The way that we determine how to define that initial first phase, and this is something I try to work my clients through, is we make a master list of all the features that the thing should do, right, from start to finish. Try to get into the extreme detail about all the little bells and whistles, all the little features. What do you want the user case or the user profile to do? What do you want like a dashboard to do? All the things. So they usually have a giant idea in their head. So we take all these ideas, then I make them prioritize them from most important to least important. So I get this master list and I said, okay, now the bottom third of the least important features, those are going on the back burner, right? And we're not throwing them out. They're just going to wait for another day when we're in a better position. We have lots more money. Maybe an investor comes on. The second tier, the second third, is going to be nice to haves. That's a technical term. That's actually an industry term. Nice to haves. So if the budget allows, we will add in some nice to haves, starting with the most important of that third, or that second third. And the top tier is our MVP. That's our nice to have, or our must haves. Cannot live without them. And generally that is enough. Those features are enough to describe a platform that delivers good value but doesn't really have very many bells and whistles at all. And it's really simple for them to say like, okay, yep, there it is. Boom, here's everything I need to do. It's like when you plan your day and you say, okay, here's 10 chores I got to do today. Which is the most important? I'll knock that one out first, then second, third, etc. But you're just prioritizing instead by time and by money.
Okay. And what would be like a time frame to come in with an idea to maybe do a $10,000 MVP? Like what am I looking at? 6 months, 6 years, 6 weeks?
So generally speaking, we meter our service by monthly increments. So it's more of like a subscription model versus an hourly model, or even a flat rate model. There are pitfalls there. We can talk about that later if you like, but that is a nightmare. for both parties, for the developer and for the client usually. But our monthly rate for a single seat of developer is 168 hours at 22, which is $36.96 a month. So that's roughly 3 months of development work for
Okay.
10K.
Okay.
That buys a lot.
Yeah,
You know,
it does. And I think that that's interesting to know, because when I was telling you about that wine app, I was thinking there's probably hundreds of thousands of dollars invested to get it to where it's want to be. But I think what I'm doing is I'm visualizing that car, right? I'm visualizing the Ferrari I'm building, but I'm not ready for the Ferrari. I'm ready for the skateboard. And the skateboard is, hey, is this kind of cool? Could I get some traction with it? Can I get from point A to point B? And if I can get to point A to point B, is it worth going to getting that bicycle? And you start breaking down into increments, and you go, oh, it's not this, huge thing. Like, are you going to be able to get to the end or not? You're just kind of taking some steps. So I think that's pretty interesting to do, because it gives you a little chance to rethink your idea as you're going through the process. And a lot of times when you start an idea, at least for me, like I'm thinking, hey, I want to do X, Y, Z, and you start doing it and you go, oh crap, like I need to be ABC instead of X, Y, Z. And you end up at the end of the day completely, probably like QRS, like you're just all over the place, and where you end up is way different than when you started. So to just go and dump a whole bunch of money in something to create it and not really knowing the end destination where you're going to end up is, it's a cool way to do it. So do you guys take equity stakes in some of the companies you work with, or is it strictly a service-based arrangement?
It's funny. Did you look me up beforehand? I feel like you know more about me than you're letting on, because we actually do. On occasion, we have a brand called Code Ventures, and we, like I said, I've been here for a while, so I talked to a lot of different people, heard a lot of different ideas. Occasionally, we would, well, not occasionally, I would say about once a week, I talk to somebody who wants me to build their project for free in exchange for equity, because we're both going to be billionaires. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't want to poo-poo their idea, but I just can't do that. Like my developers, my staff, my employees, they don't work for equity. They work for grocery money. You know what I mean? Yeah. They work for rent money. They work for retirement money. So there's no way I can do that, right? It's way too risky for us. Mm-hmm. But like I said, occasionally we would talk to somebody who, had like a wealth of experience in their field. They were experts. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and it made sense. They were extremely credible. So we set aside some time from our development staff, basically at our own cost, and we take equity in exchange for a heavily reduced rate for development. Mm-hmm. So we do on occasion, but we can only take usually about 3, maybe 4 a year that we can take, because it's very time consuming in order to do it right. Like, there's no way we could take more than that, because we'd go broke. We'd be betting the farm of our own company, trying to manage the other company.
Then you're just playing, the stock market, or not stock market, the craps tables, hoping that you pick the right horse or the right numbers to win. So let's talk a little bit about the people coming in with entrepreneurs with an idea. What are some of the biggest mistakes? What were the things you would advise them to really think through before they come engage you with developing a product? Like, what are the things that people, everybody always falls in love with the idea and thinks it's the best thing since sliced bread, but when you've seen a million ideas come through, you're probably a little bit more skeptical.
Yes, but again, it's not always my place. I try definitely not to judge the ideas. No one's coming to me to say, John, do you think my idea is good? I mean, they may want my opinion, like say you would want the opinion of a real estate agent on whether this house is a good house, right? But that's not really the core service. The core service is to close the deal, help me not pay too much for the house, or, et cetera. So the same thing is for me, is I try not to qualify the idea itself. But at the end of the day, I'm not an expert on whatever they're doing, right? It's not really my purview. So let's see, some common mistakes. They need to have, first of all, they need to have some sort of investments, whether it's from themselves, they're self-funded, or they're from friends and family. That's very common. Like I said, get $7,500 together or $10,000 together and do it. You can't do it on WordPress. Like a lot of people will try to build a WordPress version, add in like WooCommerce, if you're familiar. It's just a free extension to sell stuff. Or BuddyPress is like a social network sort of extension. They'll try to like cobble this thing together and then build a business on top of it. Technically, is that a skateboard like we talked about earlier? Yes, but it's such a rudimentary one that you are making compromises on the value that you're usually delivering to somebody because you can only work within the confines of what WordPress will let you do.
Mm-hmm.
There's no technical person who can help you build it into an actually delivering value as you envision it. So that's really tricky. So you can't really do it for nothing if it's a startup. And again, I usually work with businesses, and this is key, who deliver value online outside of just basic content. Because if you're going to start a blog, WordPress, go for WordPress, no problem.
Yeah.
Like, put a theme on it, go crazy, go blog away. People make a lot of money doing that, so absolutely. But if you want to set up a multi-vendor marketplace where there's multiple parties doing things, and you want to have an X amount of people doing it online, then you need a little bit more of a robust platform. So you need some money. You should be at least a well qualified in whatever you want to provide, like whatever service. So I talk to a lot of people who give me and I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, but I call it the gym shoe idea. This is like the idea where someone calls me and they're like, I trade gym shoes online, which can be very lucrative. Again, not poo-pooing the idea, but they have no idea how the platform should work. It's like the old meme, like step 1, gym shoe website. Step 2, ... Step 3, profit. And it's like, well, you got to know what the ... is, right? There's got to be some. I can't fill that in for you. You have to know how the thing should work, even if you don't know how to build it, because we still need to know what to build you. So that's the thing. So you got to have some sort of qualified expertise in it. You have to know everything, from the time the sun rises to the sun sets about the whole thing, but you should definitely know what to tell somebody about what you want to do. Let's see. There's a lot of like small business things that really are real misunderstood. Like the amount of time that someone needs to put into a small business in order to make it succeed. The all-in principle. That you talk about on the show is key. How much of your resources are you willing to expend to make this thing work? Because just because it's a startup online doesn't make it any easier or simpler to run. Sometimes more complex to run because there's more involved. If you run a brick and mortar, the landlord handles the leaky roof. Yeah. But in a startup online, the leaky roof could be your server crashing. Who handles that? Is there a server company doing it? Is your programmer going to be responsible for that? There's just more balls to do in some cases. So those are I think 3 big things. I would say that really that's it. Like if you have those 3 things handled, and you find a good software company, and that would be number 4 perhaps. So a lot of people will try to, again, do too little. There's no way that I would recommend one person to build their project by themselves, right? Because when someone comes to our shop, we have a project manager who is the go-between between the development team and the client, keeps the project on the rails, does the paperwork and runs the meetings between the staff, etc. There's a coding staff who also, it's like usually more than one person, because it's the person who's assigned the project and then his boss who get involved in the project. So there's 2 people right there, double expertise. Then there's a graphic design department with graphic designers who are professionals that do nothing but graphic design and make beautiful designs all day. There's again our server staff. There's a QA department that bug checks the work that the designers do. So all these people come involved in this one project. There's no way that one guy in his basement can do all of this work, right? Like we talked about 168 hours a month, right? But there's like lots of hidden hours there that just comes along. We call them secondary staff in those hours. So I'm sure that if that guy is in his basement and he can do all the things that I just mentioned, from QA to graphic design to server support and coding, you probably can't afford him. You know what I mean? He's probably like a jack of all trades guy.
Yeah.
He's not in his basement. He works for Amazon, or he's making $200,000 a year because he's an expert in his field by far, So it's impossible to have one person on Upwork or a friend of a friend or a guy you found on the internet to do all this sort of thing that you are usually expecting to have done in a website.
Yeah. So you're predicting that the days of building Instagram in your garage or your basement are over. What is your prediction? What are the things that maybe some trends you're seeing people trying to solve right now, and what would be like your like, hey, this is what I think people should be thinking about a problem that's out there that needs solving.
Well, I mean, let's see what's really big right now. AI, machine learning. Um, that's huge. Um, the wave, like there's different waves. Like there's a social media wave that came and crashed and left, and then there was a VR wave that came and left. Now it's the AI wave, and that's really hot right now. So the machine making leaps of logic and telling you things that you would not have otherwise known, right? So data science type things. That's really hot. So I make it sound really fancy, but essentially it's like Priceline does it to figure out what exactly is the price for this ticket based on all the data that we know. So that's really hot. What else is really hot? I mean, there's a lot of bottom-up movements in the industry right now. So we're talking like Wix, perfect example, Shopify. So 5 years ago when I first started this company, 10 years ago, Shopify, Wix were not a thing. They didn't exist, right? BigCommerce was around, but they were just transitioning to a monthly model. That was very novel at the time. Like, oh, for $30 a month, you can get a shopping cart, and there you go. But there's this bottom-up movement where like all the guys like me are slowly losing market share to a more and more complex piece of software where you can put up a beautiful basic website with Wix. Like this is not a commercial for Wix, obviously, but like they can make some really nice software. So we're seeing this software generated software sort of things where you're using a user interface to make a more and more complex software, and eventually we'll be caught up, just like we were caught up with a basic shopping cart from Wix. So we'll see that a lot. So what can make people, what can be easy for people to use. But honestly, this is an industry dominated by the giants nowadays. We're always working in someone's sandbox, always. We're using someone's open source software or their framework, PHP, or we're on Facebook, or we're using AWS, or we're integrating with Google Maps. We're always tying up these other APIs to make different software better. So hard to say. Like there's more opportunity, but there's less opportunity at the same time.
Yep, that makes total sense. So you mentioned the idea of all in a little bit before, and that's the question I always ask my guests. What does it mean to you to be all in on an idea or an outcome?
So I'm actually I don't think that is an accurate description of what people describe being all in actually is, right? So when I think of all in, I think of all in as the poker analogy, right? I'm pushing all my chips into the middle, and this is all I have, right? But when people talk about being all in, they bet the farm, right? They have burned the ships behind them, and this going forward is the only way to go. I don't think that's actually accurate when people say they're going all in, because when I'm playing poker, I'm not betting my life on the cards, right?
Yeah.
Like the cards are a walled garden of activity. I'm not going to die if I lose the card game. That's not really all in, is it? So
you'll lose all your money, but your life is still able to continue on. You can go, get more money through offering goods and services,
Right. So it's actually kind of like a misnomer. Like you have a family now, right? I have a little boy, right? There's no way that I could go in with a good head on my shoulders to any idea and put my family's life on the line for this business, right? Yeah. How irresponsible would that be to my responsibility to them? So I don't really think all in is what it actually is most of the time. All in is really like should be whatever is the maximum amount of effort or resources that you can expend responsibly, right? Because like I said, you would not bet your life on this business idea. That would be crazy. Like it's like a science fiction trope or something like that, right? And the movie is like, this business has to work or I'm dead tomorrow, No, you would not do that unless it's like Pursuit of Happiness, with Will Smith, where he's like, dial the phone or we can't eat tomorrow, So that guy was all in, right?
Yeah. Well, there you go. I like your answer. I think that's definitely an interesting take, and you're right about a lot of that. Like, we think we're all in, but there's something we are leaving on the table if we haven't, put everything we own, love, and cherish out there. So very cool. So the people you work with, can you describe who your ideal avatar is of the clients you're looking to get in front of? So if they're listening and say, hey, that sounds like me, like how can I get in touch with you?
I work with a lot of different ideas, and I'll be definitely honest with people. Like, if they're not somebody that I can help, I will let them know. I know, unfortunately, like, you need WordPress, or you need Wix, or, you need something else, or, you don't have enough of capital to move forward responsibly. Because one of the worst things I do is I build projects, and then something happens and they never launch. It's heartbreaking for me and my team if the business does not go forward and actually launch into the wild. It's like, well, I appreciate your money, I guess, but like, we do this for more than money, like, I could do a lot of different things, but this was what, an ego project? Like, was it vanity that we just built this thing for? That stinks. So I will definitely tell people, like, I don't know if I can help you. I'll be honest, like, not a good thing. So we need somebody who, like, is very eager about their concept. They don't have to have run a business before. They don't need business experience. But they need, a little bit of capital, because capital is the fuel for the car, right? I mean, I don't want to make myself sound like money hungry, like, oh, these people have to have money or they can't work with me. But like, that's the thing that moves us forward initially. You prime the pump, and then hopefully the pump will give you more money in return. That's how business works, right?
Yep. Awesome stuff. So where can these people find you if they want to get connected?
So you can find us through armia.com, ARMIA. It's definitely an easy way to get a hold of me. We also are the brand iScripts.com, ISCRIPTS.com, and Code Ventures. So awesome. We also do that as well. But very easy to find. There's only one John Skolimowski, so yeah, I'm sure if you just Google me, you can find me pretty easily.
I'm going to guess there's not a lot of people with your last name in there. So very cool. So if you're listening, you want to get connected to John, please reach out, say hello, find him. And if you got an idea that you want to say, absolutely give him a call, see what's up. Maybe there's an opportunity to work together. And if you do that, make sure you tell him where you heard about it from, so he knows. So appreciate you coming on the show, John. Had an interesting, fantastic conversation with you. And I think it's a lot of value because people are out there. I get hit up, even just got hit up recently, like from a friend's like, hey, do you know anybody that knows how to do this? And I'm like, well, yes and no. Like, it depends on what you want to do. Like, there's more to it than that. But like, at least you kind of have this framework of, hey, there's people out there that know what it is you need to do to make your idea come to fruition. So go have a conversation and they'll kind of guide you in the path of like, hey, is this complex or is this simple? Or not simple, but like, it's not as hard as you're making it out to be. A lot of this stuff exists. It's just assimilating different parts and pieces all into one thing and putting it out there and see if there's some traction with it. We're not always going out there and inventing the wheel. A lot of this stuff already exists. It's just kind of getting to know how to play in that space and develop something, build the skateboard, and then move up until you get to that car that you're looking to build. So thanks so much for coming on the show. Had a great time chatting with you.
My pleasure, Nate. Thanks for your questions. They were awesome.
Thanks.